Hello and welcome to Straight from the Cloverfield, episode 50. I'm your host Ralph. Today's topic is toxic judgment and assumptions. To judge others is toxic. The mind always seeks to judge because it thinks that it is an all-knowing God. That's what the mind believes and thinks, because it's me syndrome. And the mind, as we all know, will gladly wear the crown that rightfully belongs to the heart. Remember, the mind always likes to wear that crown and destroy it when it rightfully belongs to the heart, because the heart will treat it with the care that it deserves. You gotta get out of ego and judgment towards yourself and others. Because if you judge yourself harshly, you project that judgment through others, and you think others are judging you the same way as you judging yourself, whether or not that be the case. And most often it isn't, because the mind it likes to basically create its own version of reality that is most often warped incredibly. Create your own reality through your heart and your soul essence, and leash your mind, because the mind can run away with its own delusions and get the keeper of the mind is in trouble. Remember, you gotta control your mind, because it will control you. And it's a daily process, it's a daily learning thing, because it seems like humanity can get it, and then they go back to bed, and they get up, and they forget again, and they go back to the mundane. Remember to be in the present moment. And it's hard because you're forced into a system that wants to extract as much energy out of you as it can, and it should not be like that. It should not be that way. Money is a disease. Yes, humanity is taught they want it. So back to toxic judgment and assumptions. Don't assume what others think about you. Don't assume that others believe and judge yourself the way that you do. And at the same time, don't judge them or yourself. Learn from your mistakes and don't repeat them. That's it. The past is the past. Let it go. Create the now moment. And don't let anybody shape your future. Don't shape the future, just be in the present moment right now. And go with the flow of nature. Outside will teach you much to know. There's much to know from the trees. They will teach you. The butterflies will teach you. Just the vision of them is a learning experience that many still have yet to experience, which is something that humanity should be ashamed of. Not that I'm trying to get that shame frequency, because it's a very, very bad thing, and I'm not trying to do that, but I'm saying that more of humanity needs to experience these natural things that found in nature to teach. Because it's a difficult process. It's like a caterpillar to a butterfly. A difficult and transformative process when we learn not to judge ourselves and others. Because that keeps everybody stuck in the past. What's happened has happened. Let it go. And be in the now moment. Don't let anybody shape your future or have projections and expectations for the future, because that's just going to let you down, and it's going to keep you in a low state of consciousness. Be in the now, present moment, because that's all that we are. Don't relive the past, because you held backwards on judgment. And that's ego, because worry about yourself, thinking that you're going to be judged, which is like your own crucifixion. But instead of focusing on your own crucifixion, get out there and help others who are doing it to themselves and don't even realize it. They're stuck in the past. And free them from it. See their suffering, understand. And you can relate to them, because you made mistakes too. But it's a judgment and assumptions holds humanity back from evolutionary progression. And humanity has great potential as one force of love. So When the mind judges, what it's actually doing is projecting its own insecurities upon another. Each individual creates their own reality, so what one thinks of as smart may not be the same as another's. One thinks might be smart. So yeah, that's more judgment and assumptions on, oh, he's not smart, but maybe he don't know about that like you do. So you can, that's where you come in. That's where your purpose is to share what you know with somebody who may not know. And that's how we learn from each other. But humanity, like, for a long time, oh, he's stupid, and it made people feel bad that may have problems as well. So everybody has their own strengths, and that's your purpose, to share with those who don't know about that. So don't nobody feel like that. It keeps a lower frequency. We all lift each other up, not shoot each other down, because we feel bad for ourselves, and that's usually where it comes from. Because hurt people. But let's stop hurting and start helping. Because hurting don't get nobody nowhere. And it makes the earth suffer. Never force anything on another being. Allow the children to excel at what they choose. Allow them to channel and create what they choose to become. Instead, so they ain't stuck in this cycle of shame and punishment. In relationships, partners make assumptions about each other without asking questions. We need to ask questions before we make assumptions, because assumptions lead to nothing but pitfalls. So don't assume about nothing about nobody. You only know about yourself. Because you won't want nobody assuming stuff like that about you that may be inaccurate or not. So don't do it to somebody else. In a relationship, partner make assumptions about each other without asking questions. This is relationship issues. Humanity is often fearful of asking questions because it makes the mind feel vulnerable. Men and women often fight a lot instead of asking questions. Couples need to talk to each other and share their thoughts, because if they do not, they succumb to their own assumptions and blow up at each other, and that's never good, especially for children that are involved. So they blow up at each other and reflect an understanding why the other one did what they did. Just don't make assumptions, like I said. Sorry, this handwriting is atrocious, like I always say, but be vulnerable and ask questions. It's okay. If you don't know, ask questions. Don't be embarrassed. There's no such thing as a stupid question. But they always say, ask questions. Because if you don't, and you assume things, then that's inaccurate and you're not living authentically. When you're with somebody, get an understanding of what they think of it is. One person may think they're in a relationship, the other person may think that ain't nothing. But you gotta ask questions. You can't just sit there and wonder. That's a terrible relationship. That's terrible. It don't work like that. It should never work. It can't work like that, because that's not the right way. Assumptions lead to pitfalls. So that's the main subject of this entire episode. So I hope you enjoyed it. And see what else we have to say before we close. Ask questions. It's okay to ask questions. It's very important to learn what the answers to the questions that you have on the school of Earth. That's the whole point. Earth is a place to learn from your mistakes. Never assume. Always open up to each other about concerns of the mind. Don't let your focus build up. I think it's just focus. Don't let your assumptions probably build up. This can cause physical and mental health challenges. And so, depression, and you don't want that. Never assume. Ask questions. And another thing about judgment, the judgment projection, like I said, The human beings tend to project their own judgment of themselves through others. They assume others have the same judgment against them as they do, whether or not they actually do. So don't project your judgment. Keep your judgment under control, at least your mind, when that's going on. When you start turning on yourself, or feeling like the pressure's on again, and you feel really bad and shameful, and you get sucked back into the past, remember what's going on. Remember, get it like a code word or a bell or something that says, hey, come back to earth. You're going backwards. You're going to get ratcheted into the past, and you're not in the present moment. Because when you're not in the present moment, you're not present on earth. You're back to the past. It's a program that needs to be fixed and redone, and something. Because it repeats itself, and humanity has to be told things many times, even though times of illusion and it's driving me nuts. But I'm just saying, it's always seems to have to be remembered and reminded. So that's what we do. If that's what we gotta do, that's part of the great work. Just to touch somebody and help them with whatever they may be struggling with. So remember, judgment and assumptions cause only pitfalls. So you are you have control over what you do, and you need to release your mind so it does not control you. That's the most important part too. Remember, it's something that you have to keep remembering. It's a daily routine, but I know humanity will get the hang of it, and they will heal themselves because they understand about the inner knowing and the connection to nature. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I will see you on the next one.